What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? It's what I don't know. Yes, it's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Hey guys. Sorry, Zach was running late today on the show. Welcome to episode 126. It's the Ryan Ripken show. And look, if you guys have been a part of Snowmageddon 2026, we'd love to hear some stories, which I thought initially wasn't so bad. Then it was bad. Just wait till you hear my grind my gears for this Tuesday. But not a ton of news around sports. Of course, we're going to talk about some things. One, the Bills made a choice on who their head coach is. They're staying in-house with their hire. The Steelers officially welcomed Mike McCarthy as their head coach. But then that will lead to a fun little discussion of now that the Bills, the Steelers, and the Ravens have made their head coaching decisions, which is going to have the biggest impact? Who is the biggest winner as of right now? Not for the future, but for right now between those teams in the AFC moving forward. Excuse me, catch my breath. The next thing as we go, we'll just react of a couple moments from the weekend that we did miss. Mike McDonald had a really funny moment after the game. People are getting on Devontae Adams for drinking a beer, at least having a beer in the locker. Well, I got some thoughts on that. And then we'll go over to the baseball side, but it's still dormant. You know, we're still waiting for this market to heat up. I guess with this snowstorm, it just froze everything out. That and a whole lot more. As you know, we banter, we have fun. But you guys guessed, Zach Bollinger is in studio with me. Bolly, happy Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. It is. I did make that. I clarified. It is Tuesday. Do you know that time between Christmas and New Year's where time doesn't exist and every day blends together? Mm-hmm. Very similar to a snow day. Like this snow, like I don't know if it's because on like Sunday was the big snow and then we were going from there, but it really, if you told me it was Monday, I'd be like, yeah. If you told me it was Thursday, I'd say yes. Like there's no from all I know is I started shoveling and I've yet to end shoveling. Like it's just everything is together. That's it.
Well, maybe that will start with the grind my gears. And if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We are live typically from 3 to 5 right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. I am doing the Hot Stove Show tonight at 105.7, so there will be some more ball talk from 6 to 7. And, but you know what? My mind is focused on what's really just pissing me off. Because you just mentioned I love the aesthetic look of snow,
beautiful.
The feeling, the weekend. When you have no place to be, it's fantastic. It's majestic.
No place to be, plus the physical act of it snowing. When the snow is falling to the ground, I would put it up there 1-1 for just environment. When you're bundled up, you're outside, snow is falling. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. You know, some would say you could have some hot cocoa in there if you wanted when you're done.
Yeah, just me and Evan Washburn just drinking hot cocoa.
Well, Evan said he'd rather have a beer first, maybe some tequila.
I didn't say I was having mine in the snow. That's where our argument went. I already agreed I would go beer during the snow, hot cocoa to warm up after.
Yeah, you know what gets the body going? Just tequila,
hot cocoa.
Deep Eddy vodka, tequila, like right in that kind of order, you know? But what grinds my gears is literally the process when you do have to go places. And I was wondering why it was shut down so much here.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, Maryland, D.C., the Parkway, everything, like this whole region. Holy shirts and pants, dude. You heard me say some things. I was pissed driving. And not because of the drivers doing anything wrong. No. It's just that trying to get my car out of the spot, first off, on the street parking, and I'm shoveling that thing out. And then Jamie, shout out Jimbo Fisher there. Jamie comes in there. I call her Jim at times, Jimbo. So Jimbo comes out and's helping. And you know what? She was a warrior. You know what? And that's what we expect in a marriage, Zach. It's a warrior mentality. She was a warrior helping me scratch and claw and dig that big old Tahoe out. We got it out. And then I have to make the commute. And while I'm driving, I go, you know what? I can kind of see why everything shut down, because there's a lane and a half open. And when I say that out loud, the lane and a half can be, if you think it's 3 lanes, right? The middle lane's there, and then you have a quarter of one lane and a quarter of the other, and you have people trying to drive in those quarter lanes. And I'm going, what the hell are we doing? First off, we should probably carve out another lane. And I understand resources are scarce and it's hard. Having said that, on the major highways, carving out a little bit more space probably would help this solution. But for drivers, let's just have a little bit of, let's take our time. We don't have to go crazy, because if we go crazy, then there's a backup. Because I'm driving the car and I'm going, man, why are we stopped? Not that many people are on the road, but why are we stopped? It's because some people got a little bit too crazy, and I see a car turned upside down, sideways on the side of the bank on top of the snow. And I'm like, he definitely was in that quarter lane and tried to move too much and then got bumped up into the pile, and now he's stuck. And then I'm driving here, and I'm just yelling, what are we doing? And I said a few other words, Zach. I might have said 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the bad words in SpongeBob. Like I was a sailor mouth. So that's what grinds my gears, is just the process when you got to go to a place, but then also when you got to go to a place, let's just be smart. Let's take our time. It's okay. It's going to be okay. But man, I enjoyed snow a lot more when I was in my teenage years, when I was just at home and I just go sledding. Now I can understand why my parents had that look on their face of this kind of sucks. And I'm like, this is the best thing in the world. No, I get, Mom, Dad, I get it. Kind of stinks. Sorry, I'm not trying to be the Grinch, but that's how I feel, Zach.
I will say, I told you about this before, but I had the realization this morning. I did not know the lower back could physically feel that much soreness. Like when I was shoveling for hours at a time, you feel the burn, but it's like a good burn. I will say this. You finish snowing, there is not much better just full adrenaline rush of it almost feels like a fantastic workout.
Oh yeah.
You feel like you're we're feeling great at the age of 25, almost 26, next Friday or next Saturday. So I'll say 26. I did not know the back could feel that much soreness. I don't know if I was lifting solely with my lower back, doing everything they tell you not to do. I don't know if maybe I have to switch up technique or something. But I woke up and I did not realize just how much emphasis is on the lower back. I was did I use any, I thought my shoulders were going to be sore. I was okay, maybe the legs for, nope. Lower back. I think I used 99% lower back yesterday or the past 2 days. That is kind of the hypothesis that I've come to.
Timeout. TV timeout. How old are you again?
About to be 26.
Okay. So exactly. I just want to emphasize that out loud. You can't complain about any of that, buddy. You can't.
You're right. That's what's concerning is I shouldn't be.
So that's what we need to get back on the program. We got.
Yeah, I'm not doing enough lower
program.
Need to message Merritt and be what lower back.
We'll work on the back. We'll work on your lower and upper thighs. We'll work on those glutes, because it sounds like not turning the glutes on when you're bending over, and you're really putting an emphasis on that. So, I mean, I'm a little concerned for your well-being in 10 years, maybe even 6 years, because
I'm concerned for my well-being next year. I'm we are not a year ago when I was in a lot better shape. I think I would have been thriving. I would be, but.
So it just, you know what? You're sounding like Rocco right now. You're skipping leg day. You're not emphasizing.
No, and that's what, hand up.
Legs,
I will put the hand
legs.
up. I am not doing enough in the gym this past year for me to be going out there and trying the things I was doing. It just simply wasn't happening.
So you know what we need to do? Actually, to vibes. It's all Brooks. Don't talk to me about vibes. Vibes are always great. I'm gonna go home. Do you have another hat like this? Do we have another Buffalo hat? This is what you need to do out there, because they say when you put on the hat, you have the strength of a buffalo, of a bison.
We do have one around here.
And so the point of this is that means when you go out to shovel, who has some of the strongest lower half? It's got to be buffalo and bison. They got to, right? They're beasts. And he's actually running around the studio here. Oh, man. Oh, he's running. So above all, lift with your legs, not your back. Because you know what? Zach's going to learn a thing or two, and he has no idea what he's actually getting into with Merritt, by the way. I saw the list of things that we have to do next, and I have not told him yet. He's actually looking for the hat, so he's not even hearing this whole conversation. So can't wait for that. It will be great. And we appreciate each and every one of you. While Zach's looking for the hat, nope, still can't find it. Oh, it's somewhere. We'll give up on the hat for now. But while we're here, why don't we continue talking about a little sports, baby? Sports. Here we go.
Well,
we're rock. I'm actually getting hot now.
Say first off, I have my grind my gears. It is sports, so we'll get.
You had your grind. Oh, let's get into the sports grind your gears. Then we'll get into sports.
Listen, it's not only World Baseball Classic, but it's Olympics too, because we see this with the basketball in the Olympics a lot recently. Whatever country you would like to play for that you can represent nationally, do it. Like, that's awesome. There should be a one country limit. Like with Joel Embiid suddenly coming over and randomly he was like, I forget the first team he played for, maybe it was France something, or Italy. Mm-hmm. Then he suddenly started playing for Team USA. Earlier today, first off, congratulations to Nolan Arenado. He's playing for Puerto Rico. Awesome. Dude, like that's fantastic. Yeah. Like great he played for Team USA the previous two World Baseball Classics. Do we do trades in internet? Like that's just where it's not even like really grind my gear. I'm just more confused why we let this, like, I feel like you pick one. Like if he wanted to pick Puerto Rico, like play for Puerto Rico. If you want to play USA, if you want to play for Dominican Republic, whoever, I just feel like we should keep like you play for one national team. Like I just feel like that's kind of where I'm at. Because I've seen a lot of people like, oh, last time he played for this team, then he's playing for this team, now he's playing for this team. It's like, I think like Joel Embiid might be able to play for like 3 or 4 national teams in the Olympics before it's all said and done, which in the rule book he is qualified to do because of different qualifications to play for those nationalities. I sit there and I'm like, should we be able to switch what team? Like,
well, he's playing for Puerto Rico because the USA thought there were better options, and he still wants to play in the World Baseball Classic.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what I'm like. And I get it. Like, play. I'm not saying now they shouldn't play. Like, go play. And like, this is part of the rules. Go do it. I just think like, should we have like a one national, like you play for one national team type thing? Like, hey, like your first time you play, because I know this was a big thing when Joel Embiid decided he was going to play for Team USA. A bunch of people were like, should you be able to just be like, no, I'll play for them? Like, I just think that's a conversation of like, can I play for like 5 or 6? Like, what if Michael Phelps just one year was like, I'm going to swim for Italy? You'd be like, what?
Especially in that case, if it was after he broke the record.
Yeah, we'd have some issues.
And then, like, you know what? I'm going to go break another record for this other country. I see what you're saying. And, like, the passion of the World Baseball Classic, it is amazing. It's fantastic. But I do see what you're saying. When you've been with one team for X amount of World Baseball Classics, it's a little bit different. And I know when you play for the USA in this case, since we're U.S. citizens, and you know we've talked to other guys like Chipper Jones talked about. That was one of the coolest moments he had. Yeah. And I'm assuming then for Arenado, why he wants to play is he loves the moment, and it's really cool when you put on the jersey of a, you know, or you're representing. Now Puerto Rico is a little bit different, by the way, where it's not like
it's like a very because
there is a connection to the, because like technically technically there's a connection with the U.S., but
Yeah.
it's not like you're playing for the Dominican Republic or you're playing for Japan, right? But it's not the same like USA across the chest, which you've been doing. But Arenado's playing because they're like, hey, man, you had a great career, but, Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. are our options.
And Alex Bregman.
Yeah. Oh, goodness, man. Goodness. We're having a good time. You know what? Oh, okay. This hat's getting hot. But this is what I will wear out for the shoveling later on this evening. That's what I'm going to do. I'll get a pic for the gram, if that makes you feel better, Zach. But I think that's an interesting part, though. I appreciate you sharing your grind your gears. And if you guys are tuning in, it's an interesting sports day because it's not like a ton's going on. And maybe it's because of this weather. But we have to talk about a few things. No guests scheduled for today, but we might have some baseball guests scheduled for tomorrow and maybe a football guest. So stay tuned. And look, we have so much in store. If you guys haven't been following, we're going out to the Super Bowl next week. So Monday through Friday, we'll be in San Fran. We'll let you know about scheduling because the bandwidth of what the internet's going to look like, one, but then two, when we have guests lined up, we'd love to do it all live, but we're going to make sure that we can give you the best quality. So stay tuned for more information on that. But we will be live from San Francisco next week, Monday through Friday next week. We're traveling Monday out there. So it's exciting. We have a lot of things planned and are still in the works. Now, at least for right meow, we'll get to baseball later on the show. Because still, if you're wondering if Framber Valdez signed, the answer is no. Did Zach Gallen sign? No. Did Luis Ariz sign? No. Did the Eugenio Suarez sign? No. Like, if you're getting the message, a lot of guys have not signed. So we'll wait for later on with baseball to talk about that. But for what we do know is on the football side, there has been some things happening. And actually in the AFC, we saw last week Jesse Minter became the Ravens' new head coach. And he'll be announced, I believe, later this week, Zach, right? In a couple days? Thursday. Well, today, Mike McCarthy got introduced. And also the Bills announced who their new head coach was going to be, and that's Joe Brady. And Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. He's had some interviews, right, with the Ravens being one. But instead, he's being hired as the head coach of the Bills. They fire McDermott. They essentially elevate Brady to be head coach. So it's the Joe Brady era. And maybe we start with that before we get into the Mike McCarthy press conference, because with this conversation, Zach, I'm not surprised that Joe Brady was the name. I'm not surprised that this is what they decided to do. But at the same time, the question is going to be, is this going to give the Bills the most impact moving forward? Because right now we can sit here, and this is a good little debate. The Ravens, the Bills, the Steelers, those head coaching vacancies were considered hot going into this offseason. Well, they're filled. And now let's take a look at saying who is not the biggest winner per se, but which team now with these head coaches is going to have that immediate impact that they're hoping moving forward. So let's start with the Bills.
Yeah.
Joe Brady, it's not like you're changing systems. He's just going to go from OC to head coach. Now, we've heard from many coaches going from coordinator to head coaching role, Zach. It's a big jump because you have more responsibilities. You're ahead of the ship now. You are making sure everything is calculated. But my guess is that Joe Brady's still going to have his offensive game plan around. He's going to want to run the football. He's going to want to have his blueprints to allow Josh Allen to continue to run the offense that they've been running. But I'd argue in this situation, while Baltimore has sky-high expectations with Jesse Minter, and that's the goal, get to the Super Bowl, I'd argue the Bills are under even more pressure because they stayed with someone in-house, and they still haven't gotten over the hump as well. So I don't know where you stand on that, Zach, but Joe Brady, they didn't get the fresh face. Clearly, Joe Brady's had success with Josh Allen, but not surprising. But at the same time, does that make the Bills better in this situation? I don't exactly know the answer to that.
You know that episode from The Office where Michael is doing parkour and he's just like, there's a scene of him doing a somersault on the sofa and then he gets up and goes parkour, and it's him acting like he's doing these insane things, but it's like all you did was roll on the sofa. I get those vibes from this Bills head coach search, because you fire Sean McDermott because you did not like that they were not getting to a certain place. You felt like they were underperforming. Then you went out and it felt like pretty immediate. The two head coaching favorites were Joe Brady and Brian Daboll. And both of them, Josh Allen guys. I think that is the biggest thing. Josh Allen got his guy. That is, we have heard that Josh Allen was very active. He was actually, I believe, even sitting in on some of the head coach interviews. So this was, I believe, Josh Allen saying, no, I want Brady. I want Joe Brady to be the guy. It just, when I was thinking about the Bills, when I was thinking about, okay, them getting a Kubiak or them getting even a Shula or Schulhees, it felt like, okay, they needed a new sort of like the Ravens. Hey, you can go with a similar, okay, Ravens are sticking defense. They want to have a defensive mindset. But you need a new voice. And it felt like the Bills were only just kind of saying, I don't want to, put words in their mouth. It almost felt like the Bills were saying, no, that was all Sean McDermott's fault. Like, we'll keep his coaching staff. It was his fault. And I don't know if it was. And now I could be completely wrong, but it's funny. Bills fans are not fans of Joe Brady. They actually placed a lot of the blame this season on Joe Brady. So I know they are not happy with the move. I just feel like this was, I don't want to say it was a cop-out move. I don't want to say this was like an easy move. But it kind of felt almost like a college thing where you lose the head coach and you're like, no, our boys are fired up for this guy. No, we're giving this guy a chance and he's going to bring everyone together. And maybe it is. Maybe Joe Brady next year can be like, hey, it's a Joe Brady era. We're doing things my way. This is what we all wanted. And maybe that fires up the team. But it just felt like they were in a similar space as the Ravens where you're looking for a new message. And it would be like if the Ravens just promoted Todd Monken and you're like, love the coach, but is that changing anything currently in Buffalo right now?
That's a good point, because of the moves then, that was the one that's going to stay the most constant, because you're just elevating someone that has been on the staff for the last couple years. And for the Bills, I mean, look, they've had chances. They were in the AFC Championship game last year. This year, they lose an overtime heartbreaker to Denver, which they, turnovers galore, and then you had some questionable calls, but you put yourself in that position. So is that on the players, your head coach, a combination? Well, regardless, it led to them making a move. But is that going to be the move that shifts things and changes things up? Because in Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they did make some changes. And we'll get to Baltimore here in just a moment with Minter, because it looked like going to be one of the full ultimate in some cases, because Pittsburgh, they're going to make changes, but you're worried in Pittsburgh, is it going to be a little bit of the same of what's been going on? Because, hey, look, the Steelers organization, first class, they've done a lot of great things, but the question that they have is, what is their future? Because immediate impact for Mike McCarthy is sustainability. Like, they're gonna have structure. But I think what people want to know the most is, what's your plan for quarterback? What are you going to do next? What is this plan, not just for 2026, but in 2027 and beyond? And Zach, I think Mike McCarthy in the press conference, it was today, he was asked about Aaron Rodgers in this situation, right? So we have the clip of Mike McCarthy giving his answer on if he would want Aaron Rodgers to return to the Steelers. So, let's play that clip real quickly.
Mike, Tim Benz over here from Trib Live. Question, just a football one for you. I'm not asking this from any other perspective except your own personal preference. In your best case scenario, do you want Aaron Rodgers back as your quarterback next year?
That's nice the way he asked that, right? That was slick. But I mean, definitely. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. But I think just like anything, knowing Aaron long enough, going through seasons, I think when players, to see Mel Blunt here, I mean, when guys are up at that stage of their career, they need to step away and decompress. I think that's very important. The game is so emotional, what these men commit to and what they put into it. I think that time away is important, and I have spoken to Aaron, and so that's really where we are there. But I was able to sit back and watch the games. I watched most of the Pittsburgh games on TV, and I thought he was a great asset for the team.
So look, it's not whether or not if Aaron can play and he can go out there and make plays. I mean, if you're in Baltimore, you saw week 18, you saw that finale. He made plays down the stretch. He had moments that were still not maybe peak Aaron Rodgers, but were solid Aaron Rodgers. And then he also had moments that you realize he's towards the end of his career. But regardless of what happens there, Zach, this is the question. The impact of it, Mike McCarthy, this offense hypothetically could be better next year, but what's the game plan moving forward? Because that's the same path that Pittsburgh fans are looking at of going, we've been down this road of, all right, we have stability, we have some structure. Do we have a franchise quarterback for the next 5 years? Do we have this offense that's going to take this big leap? And we have an aging defense. How are we adding pieces so we're contending with teams like the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos? Because right now, the Mike McCarthy hire, which on a personal level, I'm happy. It's his team he grew up for. You can see the emotion in the press conference if you watch more. Yeah. It's a great story. But if you're talking about immediate impact or what it means for the Steelers moving forward, it kind of feels still status quo as of right now. Right, Zach? It just feels like there's still a lot of questions that they have. And of all the three teams I mentioned, the Bills, Ravens, and Steelers, they would probably have the most questions because it relays around their quarterback and their current roster structure.
Yeah, I'll tell like I see it. The Pittsburgh Steelers made the hire with the highest floor. Mike McCarthy will get you 8 wins at minimum next year, no matter who his quarterback is. I genuinely believe that. And if I'm the Steelers, funny enough, I'd actually would have rather him said I love Will Howard rather than talking about another 43-year-old quarterback coming in here and trying to do that style, because there's no future with Aaron Rodgers. Even if Aaron Rodgers wins MVP next year, 2027, is he coming? Like, there's just nothing but question marks around there. When we're talking about the hiring process, Mike McCarthy right now is the best head coach in the AFC North. I don't think that's up for debate. We have not seen Jesse Minter coach a single game. Mm-hmm. Zach Taylor has been to a Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy has won a Super Bowl. So I'm putting him above Zach Taylor. Browns, no one's there. No one's there right now. And we'll see what happens there. That is a whole separate conversation we could have. The Steelers hired the best head coaches currently in the AFC North. They do not have the highest ceiling of any coach in the AFC North. You know what you're going to get Mike McCarthy for. We saw it in Dallas. We saw it at the end in Green Bay. He is going to get you potentially to the playoffs. Anything plus there is, we'll see what happens. I think the Aaron Rodgers thing, it makes sense. It's the comfortability for both. He knows Rodgers. Rodgers knows him. I just don't see that separating. I think Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Steelers next year. But is that a good thing? Like you said, aging defense. And maybe this is what they think. This could 1,000% be the Steelers saying, hey, we're going for one more year with Aaron. We have an aging defense. We can't wait on Will Howard to develop for 2 years. We have, most of our stars are on the wrong side of hell. We're getting to the wrong side of 32, 33. So it used to be, hey, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, now Jalen Ramsey on the wrong side. Now we're getting up there more. Like these guys, and TJ Watt's yet to win a playoff game. So are they saying, hey, we think defense is the defense. We know what the defense can be. Mike, you're coming in to change this offense. And if that offense gets a jolt, can we maybe go for it one more time? I just don't think long term. I saw someone in the chat say it. They got the best option for if you want a short stopgap. hey, Mike McCarthy, he's going to be a damn good head coach. And that's the thing. Not once have I ever said Mike McCarthy is not a good head coach. When I've clowned the Steelers for this hire and everything, Mike McCarthy is a good head coach. I don't know if there's that potential and upside of, one, I don't think Mike McCarthy, no matter if he wins 10 games a year, is coaching in 8 years. I think at that point, he's 71? Like, is he going to want to be like a Pete Carroll in them who's like still going? That's yet to be decided, but I just don't think the upside is there. I think they kept the floor, what the floor is for the Steelers. We're going to win 9 to 10 games, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. So for that aspect, I think they got a fantastic offensive mind. We'll see if Rodgers returns, which I expect him to do as soon as they hired him. Maybe for a year they go for it. But if I'm a Steelers fan, what are you doing with Will Howard? Is Aaron staying here and you're saying we're committing to another year of under McCarthy? Will Howard is the backup and then he takes over in 27? Because I would be more excited about that. If I'm a Steelers fan, the coaching situation is the coaching situation. We don't have a quarterback that I know for sure is going to be in the National Football League in 12 months. And that's an issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the bigger part, again, it goes back to this. And since Big Ben Roethlisberger retired, who's their guy? And who's their guy for a long period? And it's not like in this case, if the Steelers wanted to go and get a guy that could be a free agent, that it didn't work out somewhere, which, hey, Sam Darnold, that was his case. And look at Sam Darnold now. He's going to the Super Bowl with the Seahawks, where could a couple of those guys become available over time? Perhaps. But that's a big risk. It's a huge risk. Daniel Jones, which before his Achilles injury, Zach, looked like the Colts. They did the same thing that the Vikings did with Darnold, then the Seahawks. Daniel Jones looked like he was making a step. He was playing good football. Injury happens, and now it's crushing for them. But overall, Pittsburgh, if that's the way you want to go, that's a risky game. Above all, you need to have an answer. And it's hard to draft a franchise quarterback because if it was that easy and so simple, teams would do it all the time. And you hope you hit. You do. Baltimore fans, believe it or not, if you want to look at it, if you look past the earlier years, yeah, you might not had a franchise quarterback the first 12 years, but you have the last 18 with Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
The Packers have it the best. They had Favre, Rodgers, Love. Other teams aren't as great with that opportunity. Right now is Big Ben, and then the Steelers have had a bunch of different options here.
What quarterback over the past 20 years for the Cleveland Browns would you put in any of these conversations? Not a single one. That started there. They've had success elsewhere, and then they've made their way to Cleveland. But I would say the only one, they had a chance with Baker Mayfield. And unfortunately, in the most Cleveland Browns way possible, they finally got a guy that I still believe is a dog and has that. And trust me, you want to talk about a dog, go look at his tweets about Kevin Stefanski. And that's someone who's not afraid to say what he's on his mind. We're going to see must-see TV in the NFC South next year. But it's all about the quarterback. Like, we are still in a quarterback-driven league. You can sit there and look and go like, oh, it's Sam Darnold's in the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold was the number 3 overall pick. Sam Darnold went to the Jets and the Panthers and was given up on. Suddenly, Sam Darnold, after sitting behind Brock Purdy in San Francisco and learning from Shanahan, then he goes KOC in Minnesota, and suddenly it's like, wait, this number 3 overall pick, this super young quarterback that people kind of gave up on because he wasn't producing with the Jets and that whole situation going on. Like, this is a kid with talent. Like, this is not a guy that's just another dude. You need a quarterback to win in this league, and that's why I think I'm concerned for Pittsburgh, where it's like, you got McCarthy because he's so good at developing quarterbacks. That's one of his things. Is Will Howard that quarterback? And if I'm a Steelers fan, I would almost rather them take a pick in the draft, or, we talked about it with Brandon yesterday, like, if you're the Steelers, do you trade back and get so many assets for next year that you go, hey, 2027 is the year we get our quarterback. We're going to go 1 year with Aaron, see what happens, whatever happens. But then after that, it's when we're hoping McCarthy, whether it's Will Howard, whether it's a draft pick, then he starts his development even more. and this is very Aaron Rodgers centered on this, conversation. I just don't see, there is no 2-year plan with Aaron Rodgers. He is a year-to-year guy, and you can't guarantee. I can't sit here and look you in the eyes and tell you Aaron Rodgers will 1,000% be on that field for week 1 this year, let alone next year.
And that's but that's going back to the biggest part of that. Why, when you're saying the impacts, Pittsburgh will compete.
Yeah,
they should compete. They've done that for years, but it's not even about competing to beat the Ravens, which, hey, they're 10-3 against the Ravens over the last 13. Or can you win the AFC North? That's not a thing that you're bringing up, because you can win your division. And I still think the Ravens and the Bengals are the 2 better teams, but they got to play like it. But the difference between the Ravens and the Bengals and the Steelers is if Lamar and Burrow are playing and they're in the postseason, pick of those 3, which team do you have the least confidence in to make a run? It's going to be Pittsburgh, because they haven't won a playoff game in a decade. So when you're looking at impact, the questions still remain for the long-term plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you mentioned it, it's a quarterback-driven league. What do the Ravens and Bills have, Zach? They have franchise quarterbacks, which then leads back to Baltimore. When you're looking at immediate impact, because if we're going to say the most unpredictable in this case, probably is still going to be around Jesse Minter, even though everyone loves him. They rave for him. They think he can be the next big thing. Everyone that talks about Jesse Minter is saying he can be the next big thing. He also comes with the most unpredictable outcome. Joe Brady, I don't know how he's going to be as a head coach, but you know what a Joe Brady offense will look like.
It's in Buffalo, too.
In Buffalo. So you have an idea of what that is. The impact, though, I still think the largest impact would be Jesse Minter in Baltimore, but it also could be the one that doesn't work out just because you haven't seen it. That's really it. Mike McCarthy, you've seen it. Joe Brady, you've seen elements of his offense. Jesse Minter, it's going to be a brand new staff. We've already seen it right now. He's hiring his own guys. So he's got a new defensive back coach, brought in from Notre Dame, just hired a new run game coordinator from Atlanta. There is so much excitement around it. And the Ravens, on paper, of the Steelers and the Bills, they are the best team. But it's not about then if you have the talent, because we heard this Ravens team had the most talent this past year. They didn't make the playoffs for multiple reasons. Injuries, underperforming, you name it, they didn't win the game. And that's why when you look at it, the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, and you can say the schedule is so easy. The Patriots going to Super Bowls because they didn't mess up. They didn't mess up the games that they were supposed to win. And then the games where they had the coin flip, they were more fundamentally sound than the other team. Because if you watch the Pats-Broncos game, it was ugly as hell, but the Pats made less mistakes than the Denver Broncos. The Pats made less mistakes than the Houston Texans in the round before, where Houston couldn't help themselves, C.J. Stroud, from turning the football over. And then finally, that first game, the Chargers, 16-3 was the final score. So when you're looking at all of this, yes, for the Ravens, the immediate impact is Minter and this Baltimore Ravens team. But also, it's going to come with the most unpredictability. I think that that's a fair thing to say. I am so excited for this new era, and I believe that he's going to be great. Everything I've heard, communication. But you now have to go walk the walk. You got to have to go out there and sort things out. And also, I'm curious, Zach, who is going to be the offensive coordinator? We have an idea of what a Jesse Minter defense can look like, but what's a Jesse Minter with an offensive coordinator with Lamar going to look like? Because that's going to be extremely important. And I hope I'm not coming off this way. I have all belief in the Ravens. I want to emphasize that. And that's why I'm saying their impact can be the highest. Minter's has the highest ceiling, but it has the most unpredictability throughout the outcomes here because we just don't know.
I mean, the expectation tonight to put this on is getting a little chilly from the draft back there.
Is it really?
Yeah, we got a draft in the window. I mean, it's kind of cracked, but that's a whole separate thing. There is, I mean, I don't think it's unfair because I think you think the Ravens should be the best of the teams, which is why the unpredictability is so high because we know what they can be, but now it's a new coach. What can he get them? Like we are now with a new coach, a new coach, it can take a year or so. So now it's like, okay, the Ravens can win anywhere between 7 games on the Super Bowl. So wide range, and whereas with the Steelers, I don't think the Steelers can win the Super Bowl this year. And that's just maybe I'm playing this a year from now and I look super stupid. I don't think they can win the Super Bowl next year. So it's like, okay, for Mike McCarthy, you're anywhere between 8 wins and wild card divisional round exit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's weird. Okay, so kind of where you're getting there. Bills, I'm going to put closer to the Ravens, I think, but because it's in-house, you're feeling, okay, they should come in first or second in the AFC East, and then they
should
can
win 12
Yeah,
games.
like where they're the Minter, it expands it so much. Is he going to take them to the next level? Are they going to take a year? What's going to happen? He's not been in the building, all of that. I don't think it's a bad thing to say that Minter has the most range potentially in his first year outcome, because you could convince me the Ravens win the Super Bowl next year, but you could also convince me that they miss the playoffs because, hey, they're figuring things out. They're trying to put things together. And it's like, yeah, makes sense with the new head coach. There's going to be some growing pains and stuff. Whereas with Brady being in-house and McCarthy being so experienced, you kind of feel like their ranges that they're going to be in.
Mm-hmm. And that's all it is. Because let's just face it, you have to go and write the script. You got to go see what happens. Not that the NFL is writing the script, which apparently some people they might be. If you watch the promo to start the year, it had Sam Darnold and Drake May in the front, apparently on the pamphlet.
Yes,
or the so maybe that's what it was set in stone, but etched in stone, whatever the term is. But overall, the Ravens and the impact, Jesse Minter has the highest ceiling for it because of what he possesses and who he has on his roster. And if a Jesse Minter-led defense can play like they did in LA for this past year, and a Lamar Jackson-led offense can be healthy and they can be dynamic as they are, and then the other part, you close out some games in the fourth, you win those tight games, the Ravens' trajectory is the Super Bowl. But that's what the trajectory's been for the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Since Lamar's taken over, the goal has been get to the Super Bowl. Now, the task that Jesse Minter is going to be appointed to do is get the Ravens to the Super Bowl. Same with Joe Brady. But with Jesse Minter, you're bringing a lot of fresh new faces, and change is great. Change can be great, I should say, but it doesn't mean that change is going to happen immediately. And how these next moves happen and how you implement the new formula, how you want to set your tone in that locker room, that would be the most immediate impact, because the first time in 18 years, the Ravens changed it up. And even though Jesse Minter understands the building, he knows EDC and Bashadi and Ozzie, he's still now got to find his way to make it work. And by the way, the Ravens got to make some decisions and they got to get better in some areas. So how does that look? It's a whole great question. But of those 3 teams, you guys let us know who you think is going to make the most immediate impact moving forward. Ravens, Steelers, or the Buffalo Bills. And then we got to go play the damn game, which it's crazy. I'm going to go down the Zach's, emotional road again. There's only one football game left for the 2025-2026 season.
Sad. It's like that Office quote. It's like, I wish you could know when you're in the good old days before you've already left them.
Except is it the good old days when the team that you root for gets bounced in the final week of the regular season? Is that the good old days?
Okay, there were some fun moments in between. I didn't say the ending had to be great.
Yeah,
Just moments.
If we're going to talk about good moments, going back to when the Ravens went to AFC Championship 3 of 5 years, that was pretty fun. Super Bowl year was pretty fun. And that's what people want to get back to. And that's the ultimate goal here. Get back to the Super Bowl and win it. That's the task. And for Baltimore, the odds are you get into the Super Bowl, you win it, because that's what history's told us. 2 trips to the Super Bowl, to the big game, 2 Super Bowl victories for the city of Baltimore. As the Ravens, I know some people will say, well, the Colts have won here in Baltimore, but we're talking about the Ravens. And we are the Ryan Ripken Show. So if you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We do this every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m.-ish to 5 p.m. right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. and listen on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Typically, we have guests throughout the week. Right now, things change. The weather, the storm, us traveling. No guest today, so it's just Zach and I going back and forth. But then tomorrow's a new day, and tomorrow could lead to some more opportunities and some guests. And then just wait for what the guest list is going to be out there in San Fran. I was telling Zach a little initially of who we might have, and I'll just say on the baseball, football, entertainment side, you're going to enjoy it. It's there are a few names out there I've always wanted to interview, and we kind of were lining things up, and we might have the opportunity sooner than I imagined here. And it's been a great start to 2026, and it's thanks to all of you guys. We've been rocking and rolling. Did you just take your shirt off
I'm now
again?
in between. I'm hot and I'm cold. Because I'm not.
Are you
lie.
yes, then you're no?
Yes.
Are you in, then you're
We're
out, and you're up and you're down?
Yes, Katy Perry.
Good for
Hot
you.
and cold. I know that one. That was that's a classic.
You change your mind,
Yeah. And it's not this window, it's that window. And but then I put it on, it's far enough away. And obviously, as people know, I'm a big caffeine guy. So I'm drinking some caffeine right now, and it's like giving you like the itch. We're like, okay. So I'm back and forth right now. I can't decide if I'm hot or I'm cold, literally like Katy Perry. I mean, I get it. I get what she was saying.
You change your mind like a girl changes clothes.
Yep.
What a banger of a song that was.
Because you're hot in your coat.
Still not my favorite.
No, not my favorite
Katy Perry song.
No.
I mean, back when the college age years, because I didn't go to college for the 4 years, college dropout, play baseball. When Last Friday came out, coming out of high school, like that was bumping. Birthday is electric. I could get rocking and rolling on that. I could call my buddy Charles. You met Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was kind of a puddle at the wedding, but
This is the big thing. Especially with the snow. We talked about this yesterday. You never dress properly for what you're doing in the snow. Because I have to go shovel after this. I'm going to shovel more.
Might as well wear nothing. Might as well just wear nothing underneath your jacket at this point.
Literally, but that's where I'm at, because I usually go sweat. If it's snowing, I go snow pants. If it's not snowing and I'm just like shoveling, I go just sweatpants. And then I go sweatshirt and jacket, and then a knit hat, and obviously gloves. But as you chip away, like it gets, then like I'm taking layers off, but like what layer do you like? I don't want to take off the big jacket, because then I'm going to be cold. It's just you never know.
Yeah. I got these boots on. They're not the most flattering. You might think that I'm like I don't know how to describe the boots, but I don't know if they're the best for shoveling snow, but that's what I did today in these boots. The outfit I had on before, I had a flannel too. I look like I just went through it. I might have had too many to drink last night. That's how I looked. And I swear I didn't have anything to drink last night. I've just been trying to plan and put some show concepts together. That's all I've been doing here. That's all I'm doing. But what all we're doing here is we're having fun. Also, do you see that smoke going outside? Is that smoke?
Yeah, it's smoke. I also see.
Through? No? I see it. Do you see it? Are you trying to go to the window to see yourself? Are we having some smoke? Is it getting hot out there?
It's coming out from the ventilation system from the building.
Well, apparently it's not ventilated enough for you over there. But
no, I think it's there's a window that may or may not be cracked.
To the window.
To the smoke.
To the wall. To the smoke. Have you fallen and slipped yet before we go around Maryland into the other topics?
I was very close. I have had, I will say, I've had full, when the arms start going and you're like, oh,
yep.
Here we go. Yep. I've had full, but I haven't touched earth yet. Haven't touched earth yet. Very close a few times.
Well, are you touching earth if you're on top of the snow?
Yeah, because I guess it depends on what, but I'm saying full, I've not touched earth yet. I have gotten full arms going backwards, trying to figure it
Like
out.
a whoa. That one of those
Like
moments?
you suddenly, like, your feet, one's going like kind of forward, one's going kind of backwards, and you're like, we're going down, and then you save it. I've had some hand help. Like, I've, like, given a stiff arm to the snow of like, okay, let's keep myself up. But I have avoided narrowly a few tumbles. Have you?
I haven't wiped out on my ass yet. I mean, but now that I said that, it's probably going to happen tonight, at some point. One thing I always worry, especially I'm sure if you have, a family member, loved one, for me, it's my mother. So my mom, during these conditions at times, I worry if I get a double call and I'm like, okay, if she knows I'm busy and I get another call and I text her like, hey, on the phone call in a meeting, we good. And if I don't get a response and I call back, I'm like, hey, are you all right? Did you fall?
Mm-hmm.
Did you fall shoveling? It's like, oh no, I'm good. But yeah, I did fall, but I fell in a snow bank. And I'm like, okay, can we just avoid that? I'll come over. If you need help, you need some assistance, I got you. But I don't need a call because you're in the hospital. Like, that's my worst type of fear with that, being like, could we prevent this? If someone's going to fall on their ass, let it be me.
I will say, I wasn't planning on telling this story, but I'll say it because it's a good
story time.
So on Sunday, a lot of snow. And when plows come through, we had some regular plows coming through, but when they come through early, or they come through like once or twice, like, they just push all the snow up and then like more snow falls. So it just feels like now there's just piles of snow on top of the other snow. So, just helping neighbors out. I was, it was like, one asked, hey, can you help dig my car out with the big snow pile out in front? So I look over, I'm like, oh, massive, probably like 4 foot tall snow pile. I'm like, it's going to take a minute, but yeah, of course, I'll help you out. My brother and I are shoveling, getting the stuff out. We get about 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, and we are halfway through this thing. And it has been a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. They come out and they're like, hey, our car is down there. So then after 20 minutes, my brother, the face he gave me when we found out I had taken us to the wrong pile. We then spent the rest of the time shoveling the right pile and probably took another 25, 30 minutes, but hand up, that was on me. I went to the wrong pile and we probably spent about 15, 20 minutes shoveling out the wrong cars. So shout out to those people, though. I hope they got out of their car easier. Hope I helped a little bit there. But when they walked out and were like, hey, great job. Looks great. Real fast, though. That's the car we were
Driving.
Yeah. So hand up. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes.
I wish I was surprised. I'm not. No offense. I'm not.
No. And that's why, like, was I even surprised? I was like, damn. Like, I kind of had that, like, did it again. Like, one of those classic switch ups. But yeah, I wasn't surprised, unfortunately.
Well, you know what? No wonder your back hurts,
Yeah, we're doing a lot of extra work.
A lot of extra work and not using your ass and your legs. You're pulling a full Rocco de Sangro, all upper body.
No, there was no upper body. There was just at lower back.
Well,
because
because you were not using your legs.
Yeah, so all lower back. There was no upper body
But
strength. I thought my shoulders were going to be.
Okay, so upper body to me is everything above the legs. Just your torso up. Because
but like lower back is the one, like I put lower back in its own category. Do you get what I mean? Like upper body, you think like, and then lower body, and then like there's lower back. Like I feel like that's why we specify lower back. Because it's like it's its own thing.
Gotcha.
Well,
that makes
all the sense in the world. I know.
No. Well, let's make sense of these two objects or situations, topics before we move over to a little, I guess, baseball talk again. Yeah. There was 2 moments from the weekend. Since we were talking about head coaches, well, let's talk about the head coach of the Seahawks, former defensive coordinator for the Ravens, Mike Macdonald. He was all fired up. And I don't know if you guys saw after the NFC Championship game, he had that really weird interaction, or very, I wouldn't say fully awkward, but it was a memorable phrase, and he didn't know what to say. It was just that, what was about the noise.
It was, it's like everyone kind of expected everyone else to be here in the NFC West. Like, and he said, we did not care. And he put a lot of emphasis on saying it slow.
He did, and it was very slow.
Very slow.
So he was asked about that on the radio then out there in Seattle. So let's play that clip and we'll react to it.
Actually, I'm really good at talking in public. Right?
Yes.
And so not
it.
my wildest dreams when I think I'm going to be sitting on a podium talking in front of I didn't realize how it's like in front of the, I don't know, whatever.
The world.
The world. And so I didn't know what I was going to say, but then this is the God's honest truth. Okay. So I'm sitting up there, I'm listening to Cam talk, and I can't hear him. I'm from here. I'm from like him to me and Dave.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, if I'm talking, like, do I need to like slow down or something? Like it's an echo, and I'm here. It's like, when you sing the national anthem, you're like hearing the person in front of you, and you don't hear. So classic overthink, So I'm like, well, maybe I need to slow down when I'm talking, and say louder because I can't hear. So I'm like yelling into the mic and like talking all slow. That's why I did it. And then shout out to Michael Sean when as Michael Strahan's asking me the question, I thought of Michael Sean's question that he asked me at the end of camp about like where they had us slated in the thing, and I was like, bro, we really don't care.
Bro, I really don't care. I don't care. I just care where we're at. It's not trying to be a chotch, but just don't care.
Remember? And so that's why I said it, because that's the only thing I could think of.
Funny. I thought it was your Georgia roots coming out just a little slower right here. Let me just take in.
No, I just definitely, it was a classic overthink. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I love that he recognized the moment, and I loved his assessment of it. You know what it was? It was slow. It seemed off, but now hearing it back, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Good for him. It is interesting to think. It's a good reminder for people, as much as Baltimore wants to say, and the fans, that's the one that got away. Timing, I'm done having that conversation. Timing wasn't right. It happened. He's in Seattle. Good for him. But think about that. When he said, I never thought I'd be on a podium speaking to everybody like that. He's thought about going to the Super Bowl. He's thought about winning that game. But everything else that goes with it, that's frying your brain. That's almost like a Ricky Bobby moment where it's like the car runs smooth. I don't know what to do with my hands. That's how I felt like Mike Macdonald's brain just kind of short-circuited. Didn't know what to do, but it was a great clip. And he's just a great guy. Good for him, man. Good for him.
It's like, did you, it looked like you were just taking it all in. And he's like, I didn't know if people could hear me. He's like, I started yelling, and because he's yelling. He's like, we did not care. And everyone's like, wow, he took a moment to really emphasize it. And in his head, he's like, do people understand that? Like, were we good to hear that? Like, did that get through? He's like, and it's one of those moments where you realize that these are all people too, where he's like, this is Mike Macdonald, one of the best turnarounds, taking the Seahawks obviously back in his second year. Incredible story. And he's like, yeah, so there I am, like my biggest fear of being on stage. And I'm just like, wow, this stadium is big. Like there are a lot of people in here that I'm now talking to. It just feels, it's humanizing, where it's like, yeah, I probably also, if I just stood on stage and they're asking that and I could barely hear anyone, that'd be like, all right, yeah, we did not care.
Sports.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it happens.
It happens. And it did happen to Mike Macdonald, but the Seahawks are victorious. Hopefully, if they win the Super Bowl, well, he'll have a little bit more practice now, and he'll be on the big stage, and I think he'll have a better idea of how loud he can be, and then maybe he should just be more comfortable trying to speak more normally. But, you're jacked up. You have all these emotions. Happy for him. Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. On the other side of it, in that game, There was another moment for some reason that was getting attention. And it was after the Rams lost. Davante Adams was emotional after the game, but it wasn't that Davante Adams was so emotional. It was the fact of what was in the background of it. Then there's a Michelob Ultra in his locker. Zach, let's pull up that clip because this brought attention. We don't have to necessarily play the audio.
That's just him saying he's emotional after the loss, as you can see from his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, he's emotional. I get it. I would be too. Davante Adams has been to 5 championship games now, right? And has not won a single one. Hasn't gone to a Super Bowl. And you understand your time, even though he played at a high level this year. You know that those opportunities, there's no guarantee you're going to do it next year. And you're getting older. But on top of it as well, if the man wants to have a damn beer, which some argue Michelob Ultra is just water. So if you're arguing that, then okay, you're hydrating. But secondly, dude, if I lost 5 championship games and the way that we just lost that game, my preference is much stronger. I'm getting the bottle. I'm going the George Kittle route when he had the Achilles tear where you had the bottle of tequila. Put that right behind my locker.
And listen, like this would be one thing. I would say it would be a story if he was mid-interview and he had a bottle of tequila in between each answer. He's just taking chugs. That'd be like, wow.
That'd be electric, though.
Yeah, but it would be. I would see why people are like, okay, Davante's taking this hard. Like this is a single Michelob Ultra behind him, and people are like, how could he do this? What is Davante's drinking? What he's experimenting with the alcohol?
He's of age, experimenting with the alcohol. I mean, well, people must have forgotten what's happened before then, where players, it used to be a lot more open after games, and you're not, driving or whatnot. You just saddle up, have some adult beverages, decompress. I would decompress. If we won or lost, I would probably decompress. And I know a lot of people are like, Ryan, you probably drink a ton. It's like, no, I'm not an avid drinker, but when I played and I put a lot of time and effort in, and in baseball, especially when you're grinding, you're scratching, and you're clawing, and then some days you're just getting the shit beat out of you, or you're in a slump where you're 1 for 30. And I hate to say, Zach, I had a lot more of those than I would have liked. And again, part of the reason why I'm not still playing, but it takes a toll. But the best players in the world, you play long enough, you're going to go through more 1 for 30s. And in football, you play long enough, in any of those sports, you're going to have heartbreak. But you also put so much time and effort into it. Yeah, damn right, I'm going to sit back, enjoy my favorite beverage, and decompress. Hell, that was advice that I got from some of the greatest players that played the game of baseball. Like, hey, you should get out of your head? You might need to have a drink or 2 or 10. Let it go. Because sometimes that's a way that some people are doing. I'm not saying condone go out there and do it all yourself, but I'm also not telling you to not go out there and make your own decisions if you're an adult. Davante Adams, hell of a season. You want a Michelob Ultra? You want a bottle of tequila? Next time I will personally bring it to you if that's the case.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, obviously he has his Taco Bell commercials, but I see Karen talking about it, and Laura, if I'm Michelob, I'm like, hey, you want to be on a commercial? We want to turn this into something? We want to turn this into something? Like, hey.
And I know that isn't there rules about players about endorsing alcohol, but you can get around it. I don't know.
I'm actually not sure. I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure.
I think you have to work around it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when the career is over, that photo can be brought back. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Yeah, especially then.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say on a different note, before we get into the whole baseball conversation, I will say I've had some of my best moments after a game, just having a drink with teammates, decompressing, talking ball, talking life. Sometimes we wouldn't even talk about the game. And it's just that moment of you kind of debrief. And that to me was very therapeutic. It's really hard in this case where football, everything is so televised. It's the biggest game of the year. Cameras in your face right after the game. And you're trying to have that moment to It's a process. That's a hard thing. It's extremely hard. I hate it for Devontae in that case. And a lot of players. There's a lot of great players that don't get a chance to go off and chase greatness. And by greatness, winning a Super Bowl. Stephon Diggs on the other side of it, you saw his emotion when they finally broke through and he's in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all players, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he was very emotional after they went to the Super Bowl. He's a young player. He's hoping to get back, but the time and effort these guys put in, you know, it means so much. Like, that's why I'm excited when Baltimore finally breaks through again, because you know those guys, it's going to be this euphoric feeling. It's so hard to win. So hard. And you win less and less as you get older. Just the reality of it. So if you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live Monday through Friday right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Zach, kind of last little thoughts here before we move on. Actually, before we continue our stream into baseball, let's take a little stream to our auto stream. And we appreciate our friends over at AutoStream Car Care Center. And look, we partner with them, 10 locations throughout Maryland. If you had car issues through all of this, or you need to get your car fixed through the snowstorm, well, right now they're allowing us to give away $50 off any service. All you got to do is mention Ryan Ripken. So go to AutoStream Car Care Center. You have a problem, mention Ryan Ripken, $50 off. People helping people. That's what we're trying to do this year with AutoStream and here at the Ryan Ripken Show. So from AutoStream Car Care Center, now back to this stream. Zach, let's do a little baseball talk. Pitchers haven't signed yet.
Hitters haven't signed yet.
And I wish that we had more to talk about with this. We went pretty extensively yesterday with Framber. You know, we talked a lot about how the market just hadn't really gone the way that he had hoped. And there's got to be some sleeper team in here, right? It's not just the Orioles, which I know everyone's pointing. Every time you point and you think you assume it's going to happen, let's pump the brakes. We've seen this too many times. But I am just curious from a timeline standpoint, man. I mean, it's going to be February by the end of this week. Spring training is right here. The biggest news today was that MLB The Show said there was no video game cover, and then, oh, whammy, there is. Surprise, it's Aaron Judge.
Which, like, that's where we're at in the baseball season, by the way, offseason. We're waiting on Framber and Gallen now. I mean, like that, Eugenio Suarez out there, but who are we waiting on? Anyone else? Like, I feel like for the most part, I mean, maybe I'm like, obviously there's some free agent relievers available, but right now, I mean, let's go off market value. Framber Valdez, Lucas Giolito, and this is going off Spot Track. Zach Gallen, Chris Bassett, Eugenio Suarez, Aaron Savali, Nick Martinez, Luis Arias, Marcell Ozuna, Zach Littell, Nestor Cortez, Chris Paddock, Luis Rengifo. Like, those are considered like the top 10, 12, however many names. Like, that's after Framber. It goes, Framber's market value is $33 million a year projected. Lucas Giolito's 20.5, Gallen's 18, but then you go to guys, it's drops pretty close to 10. Like, we're starting to finally see how they are going, how this free agency is going to pan out. And we're seeing that after Framber signs and Gallen signs, I mean, Eugenio Suarez is like, and Luis Arias are like the last big names that you're like seeing. And I just don't, like Luis Arias, that's a whole different conversation is how you view him, because there's a million different ways to look at his statistics. But
I mean, he gets hits, but he's not a bopper, and people don't love that completely. He doesn't have a full position. I think the bigger part is the position that he plays.
If he was a good defender,
if he was a second
baseman,
baseman,
he'd be signed in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's because he had the result to play first base. and then they had to move him around, and now he's a free agent. But yeah, I mean, Suarez has a lot of impact like that. There's some big names and guys that are going to make some big impacts in 2026, but they're standing here and they're waiting. In one part, Zach, with the other thing we maybe didn't touch on with Framber or with Zach Gallen with the situation is while they're going to be on a short-term deal, they also are having to deal with the fact of there's a lockout that is looming. And so if you thought you were getting 4 or 5 years, and now you're looking at maybe it's a 2-year deal and 3-year deal, maybe opt-outs and all of that, what does that entail and look like for you? Because for pitchers, I don't think the work stoppage is going to have baseball like some people that are pessimistic that, oh no, they ain't going to play in 2027. No, like they will. Baseball has too much momentum. There's going to be a clash. There's going to be issues, but the game, both from the players and MLB, would make a drastic mistake if they couldn't come to terms on something because of the way the game, especially the year they had in 2025, like it would be a disaster. It'd be a disaster on both sides. But having said that, is that also what's factoring into this? Is how they're outlooking how this lockout's going to look? If there for some reason becomes a salary floor or salary cap, are players looking at this could be their last chance to really fully cash in at this ludicrous amount? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I'm curious if that's going into some of these, because Framber definitely going into this year, into the 2025 season, 5 or 6 year deal for him, getting anywhere from 150 to 200 million was very feasible, it seemed, up until the summer, end of the summer. Whole situation in the game, how he finished the season, that's what it really feels like. So, yeah, I know with some teams, with the names that we said, you look a whole lot different if they come in, but I do worry if they're not in camp before spring training opens. I really don't like that, Zach. I've told you that from the start. I really hate guys joining the teams late. I hate it.
We've seen that, and especially for pitchers, that does not work out. Like going off track record, it's not easy to just be like, okay, I'm going to – at some point, once you wait long enough, the regular season becomes your spring training. Like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery are the poster childs for this. They waited out. They thought they were going to get the best deal because teams would get desperate. They signed short-term, really good deals, but it killed them in the long term. Not Blake Snell, because Blake Snell's really freaking good.
Yeah.
But
Jordan Montgomery crushed him.
Yeah. And he could never recover because then he gets injured. Then he's dealing with stuff. And like people just remember, hey, that was a waste of a signing. And so then suddenly the Diamondbacks are like, oh, see you later. And it feels like that's just such a risk, especially for a guy like, I'll say Gallen is in a very similar position, I think, as Jordan Montgomery. If Zach Gallen goes and has another ERA above 5, are you trusting him again? Like, can he get another big deal? So I think there is a lot of pressure on these guys they need to get in camp soon, because like you said, 2 weeks, those buses, those cars are pulling up. We're not just taking pictures and posting social media clips. We're playing ball. It's pitchers and catchers, and we're getting bullpens in. We're going over strategy. We're putting in the work that's going to hopefully pay off in October. So you got to get in there fast.
Mm-hmm. Also, I am curious, is Framber pitching for the Dominican team? Has that been announced?
Because
I actually don't know the answer to that. So I'm seeing that he is going to be pitching.
So are you saying he will?
Well, I mean, that's another question that's in this.
I think so. What I'm seeing is he wants to. I'm seeing as of December 30th
that he wants to pitch.
Well, here, let me.
Well, regardless of this, there's that whole other side of it. And this is why also with teams, if you have any pitcher that's pitching in the World Baseball Classic, I'm not worried about them having to pitch a little bit more because that's them getting their work in. It's their spring training work.
I'm not seeing him currently on their roster.
So, and that's probably
hold up, that was
regardless, one way or another, it's still different when you pitch for a World Baseball Classic team. And if he does pitch in it and you go to a brand new team, you're getting acclimated. I don't think that people understand when you go to a new place and getting acclimated in a new environment, the importance of that. It does matter. It really does. Like, Dean Kramer's going to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, but Dean's been in Baltimore for years. So Dean's also been an innings eater. He's been out there. He's been dependable. So
from what I'm hearing is Framber wants to play, but he is waiting to sign with the team to get the okay from them.
And is that a holdup now in this thing? And the longer that this draws out, the World Baseball Classic is 5 weeks away?
Yeah.
Something like that, less than that, whatever it is. But this is kind of the complications. And I'd even argue this when we talk about pitching depth. If you have pitchers that are pitching in the World Baseball Classic, again, I'm not overly worried about pitchers going and pitching in that because you're ramping them up like they're going to get ready for the season. But if you do have a pitcher, the intensity level is the one thing for me that becomes more of a focus, because the intensity of pitching in a spring training game is a lot different than pitching for your country in games where you are trying to win the whole thing. I don't care if you are capped at 45 pitches, 60 pitches, you name it. And people can say, well, you're going to have the same intensity that you would no matter what. Sure, competitors are going to do that. But you know what you also do in spring training? You work on what you want to work on to be ready for the season. When you're pitching in games that have a value, you're not going to maybe work on some things as much as you would. And above all, don't you want to have a little bit more depth just in case something goes wrong for your staff? And so a team like the Orioles, where you know you have a confirmed starter, a team like the Tigers, where you know you have a confirmed starter and Scooble pitching in it, yeah, I would want to make sure I have depth in my rotation in case something goes wrong, because you never know. And that even makes a lot even more sense with Framber Valdez, because the longer this goes on, Zach, the more and more I feel that teams are going to say, if we're giving you this money, you cannot pitch in the World Baseball Classic. And if I'm the Orioles, and I know that sounds brutal, but if you've waited this long and you're counting on him to be your final piece and then to create that depth of your rotation, I would feel better if he doesn't pitch. But I would hate to have to tell him I don't want him to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, because it means a lot to him. But that's where we're at. If they had this deal in place and it was a 3 or 4 year deal or 5 year deal, I think a lot of teams would be a lot more open to it. I really am curious, Zach, if that's a problem.
Yeah. I think everything's a problem right now. Like, there's just that uncertainty in everything is adding to it. Okay, now I'm last minute adding you to my roster because I think you could be a difference maker, but now you want to play in this World Baseball Classic, which we already have guys playing, so we don't want to say no, but now that's a massive risk. Okay, do we want you pitching in that immediately? I think there's a lot of holdup. Like, this is just one of those situations where if there's no World Baseball Classic this year, maybe he signed earlier. Like, but if he is hell bent on, hey, I want to play, I just want to get the okay from my new team, is a team going, hey, but we don't want you playing in that? And he's going, okay, well, if I'm taking a short-term deal somewhere, I want to go to a team I can also play for my country for. Like that, I would not be surprised if that's part of it. And I think that just adds on to everything about this.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. All of it is very layered. And I know some reports are out there and it's a lot of speculation. Does Baltimore have the best deal out there for him? You know, there's, gambling sites that are saying, oh, it's 99% that the Orioles are signing
now it's
Framber.
Now it's 98% that the Diamondbacks are signing Framber.
So, look, this is my part of you just don't know. You really don't. And you know what? The Diamondbacks, it would make sense out there. Why? They just traded for Arenado. They have pieces that want to win right now. And if they're willing to give a better deal and Framber doesn't want to pitch in Baltimore, then so be it. And that's the last thing I'll say with this, is that, yes, money will drive a player, but you want a player to want to be here. And if they don't want to be here under those conditions or whatever's been set out, then it shouldn't be the move. Then you go and get somebody else, because the Pete Alonso deal, while you did spend and you spent a lot, Pete Alonso has made it very clear how much he wants to play for the Baltimore Orioles and how much he's embodying it. And there's a commitment level. When you sign a guy for 5 years, Pete's going to be here. Can't be said for a guy, whether it's Framber or Zach Gallen or whoever else you sign, it's going to be a shorter-term deal. And with those shorter-term deals, it goes back to the player of going, all right, if I have 2 or 3 options out there, shorter-term contract here, you really then pick where you want to go. Like, when it's more years, you go where the money goes in the years. When it's shorter, it opens up this conversation of, well, if it's $1 million or $2 million less, or it's a comparable price, well, let me choose where I want to bet on myself for 2026. And if you don't want to bet on yourself for this team, then you're going to go somewhere else. So if that's true with the Diamondbacks or any other team, all right, then let Framber make a decision and you move on. But I think that's where starting pitchers in the short term, they really are looking at opportunity. But more so, if the dollars are close and you're looking to get paid in the future, go play where you want to play, because the money's probably going to be pretty comparable to what deals are that are out there at this current moment.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where we're at with this point, because for a while it really looked like it was going to be, okay, who gives them the most money? Who gives them the longest deal? And now it's turned into, okay, who's giving him the highest AAV short term? Where are you going to go? Is he competing somewhat with Gallen? Do teams think Gallen for a reduced price is better? It just, a lot of things go into this that I don't think we're going to have answers to until pen gets put to paper and we get the passing bomb of Framber signing here, Gallen signing here, and then we'll go from there, and then we can react, because I wouldn't be surprised. Like, some team, we keep sitting here saying this, some team might get fed up and give Framber 5 years. Like, they just might say, screw it. If no one else is, if you're taking this long, we'll give you 5 years, opt out after the 3rd year, take it or leave it. And like, maybe that gets it done. Like, we could be sitting here saying all this, and then some team gets fed up and gives him what he wants. Like, it's part of the cat and mouse game. And that's where we're at. We are in the middle of it right now.
We are in the middle of it. And the final thing I'll say with this whole conversation, because I'm seeing about making a pitch for the Orioles now, you've proven that you're willing to give out money. You've proved it with Pete Alonso. You signed Ryan Helsley. You trade for Shane Baz. You trade for Taylor Ward. When you look at it on paper with the Baltimore Orioles, with the nucleus that they have, a young up-and-coming coach that has a fire and a passion, you feel that this organization is taking the strides. And when you look at the rest of the American League East, why can't the Orioles win it? That's my question. If you're pitching to someone, come be that piece that helps us get there. Because I think that the Orioles, with the roster that they currently have, not signing anybody else, they're going to be really interesting to watch here in 2026. And all you got to do is get in the dance. Don't win the division. I wish I could say it's the most important thing. Get in. You get in, chaos can happen. Baltimore has a great opportunity in front of them. But at this point, you've already proven that you got a big name that wants to come here. Pete Alonso balls out. You work on some of your players and signing and extending them to keep them in-house for next year and the years beyond. You'll start to build that up. And when you win again, that brings more excitement from free agents outside of here. But don't have to feel like you got to go beg for someone to be here. And again, I don't know the situation with Framber or any of these guys. But if you don't want to be here and it's not truly just about the money, then go make the appropriate decision. And then for the Orioles, you want to have the people that want to be here and see the vision. That's your goal. And you win with who you got. And no one cares about the excuses. So whatever happens here, Baltimore, any other team in the AL East, whoever they have going to the year, their goal is to win. And you win with who is on your roster. So if you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We are live Monday through Friday right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Zach, I think that kind of does it. Got a little fired up there.
Yeah, I mean, we are in the like that in between week for Super Bowl. We don't got anything coming up this week. Like, coaching hires have now kind of come and gone. We have a few more. I'm not going to call them insignificant ones, but like the top 3 have been settled now. We're just till Framber and Gallen sign or something happens, a trade. we're kind of in that wait and see period.
We are in that wait and see. And also, if you guys don't want to wait until that happens, you want to talk more ball, I'm going to be on 105.7 from 6 to 7.
6, 7.
Not 6, 7.
I said 6,
6 to 7.
6 to 7. 6 to 7.
You
6
done?
to 7.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will be on 105.7 from 6 to 7 p.m. You can call in, join the conversation, and then we'll just continue to see what happens here. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow for our guests. I know some people have wondered about some other content. Down the road, we're going to be talking about the dead period once free agents fully behind us. We're going to have some guests to talk to us about free agency, maybe talk about some prospects. And then on the football side, we might have some more players, executives, and maybe some familiar names that the people in Baltimore would know pretty well. That's what I got. That's all I got. Sports. Well, guys, that does it for us, Zach. You want to cue the music? Oh, the music. Where'd my hat go? Oh. As always here on the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate each and every one of you. Be safe out there in the snow. Make sure you're bundled up. Make sure you got a proper hat. Make sure you're feeling good. But above all, be safe and come see us tomorrow. We'll be live here, Ryan Ripken Show, on YouTube, X, and Facebook. See ya.
Up, down, and straight.